blast. All right.
Coming in. Capture and hold the resource points. Stop any hostiles that get in your way.
Yeah, JGX still pulling strong in the comments here.
All right, both teams dropping down. We are on the Dropship 5 side. We've got, here comes that fadeaway with those summoners. They like jumping back, taking some early shots.
And
but
here comes the Alpha Power Lance. Your large laser fire already coming out from
JGX. Odin Steed! I cannot believe the power of those ER larges ripping into the arm. It was a shield arm for Odin Steed, but already pulling 17% damage. Nothing critical on that mech, however. But D5 coming out with the PPCs. Are they going to be able to effectively put those PPCs downfield? Now, JGX,
up completely.
They've moved up to the ever famous, I guess this is the CSJ Hill, as people like to coin it, after the CSJX team uses this quite often in prior competitive play. So they've set up their power position with those ER larges, and D5 is not really obliging them. They're keeping their heads down while working the map control.
Yeah, D5 going a little bit more on the map control side, but God, look at those ER large fire coming in.
They've taken Epsilon.
That is just so much damage when they get hit by, you know, 8 or 9 of them at a time.
Airstrike online.
You think those summoners probably are the best counter to that because they have the really high mounts they can expose just a little bit to get their fire off, but ooh, Pasha taking big hits on an Artie strike. Took multiple shells there, down to 76% in the Supernova for CSJ.
Ooh, nice one right across data. D5 bringing those airstrikes in. If these guys want to sit back with their ER large lasers, D5 is saying, go for it. We're going to start tossing strikes
about to
downfield.
take
But
one.
oh, that actually went back and hit the Night Gear as well. But at the same time, the summoner Blaketown has taken a lot of fire from that incoming
both
ER large
right now for D5 actually back capping on Sigma. While at the same time the Arctic Cheetahs are, it looks like 2 Arctic Cheetahs for JGX on Theta right now. There is a Stormcrow. What is he running on this for D5?
Most likely streaks. And he's been
yeah, 3 streaks.
Online.
But he is backing off, letting Theta be captured.
So 3 caps soon in favor of Dropship 5. Where the lights, they are operating near Theta, but they are seeing Sigma flash, and they're going to respond to that. The lights that are sitting on Sigma are really going to have to be careful to not get caught out. We'll follow these guys in as the ER larges continue to grind away on D5, but D5 seems content keeping their heads down and not feeding into the ER large fire from JGX. We might have ourselves a light fight here because those mechs are still on Sigma. Initial shots going out.
And that Stormcrow is out of the fight. You'd love to have that Stormcrow in this light fight.
All right, Navid and Charlemagne versus Rabbit and Dario. Here we go. Fire going out. Wolfhounds versus Cheetahs. Machine guns versus pulses.
Navid needs to get a little closer there. He's got terrain in the way.
Charlemagne is really not moving very fast. He's trying to get these accurate shots on Rabbit. He's getting hits in, but those machine guns tearing into his mech. There is a response team on the way. If these light mechs overstay their welcome, they're going to get jumped. But we do have that Stormcrow kind of working in the region as well. And he's actually
taking
discovered
some large fire. Yeah, he got discovered
fire
there
as well, and that's going to chase him off. So Sigma will flip back in favor of JGX. JGX getting exactly what they came for, flipping it back. That entire effort by D5, while giving them a short lead on tickets, is going to tick back very quickly, and D5 is going to have to come up with another solution because that was not sustainable. And we're back to
right now,
recap for JGX.
D5 is losing the trades as well. They've got to figure something else out.
The JGX setup with these ER larges dominant on the field right now. Just a really solid spread up along behind Theta towards the Sigma region, and they do not have an answer. Those light mechs moving towards Kappa just to swing around, but if they wanted to do some sort of Epsilon cap, They have to go all the way around the map, and it's just going to take forever. And JGX poised in a very quick response position to be able to maintain this 3 cap.
Right now, I think it's the weapon choices that are really hurting Dropship 5. They just can't seem to put long-range PPC fire on target. On the other hand, the instantaneous travel time of the ER larges makes it just a little bit easier to hit those targets at range.
So D5 taking their time trying to figure out what they're going to do. They are sending their wolf pack now around the Kappa side. I think they're going to go back to Sigma, but they're going to bring the Streak mech with them this time.
And in the meantime, JGX is bringing their Arctic Cheetahs to Epsilon.
They might have thought that there was going to be a swing around for Epsilon. They're getting the full cap on it. Since there's nothing really going on, that's not necessarily a bad idea. I think D5 is putting a lot of their focus on this wolf pack to succeed at Sigma with the help of that Stormcrow. They're going to need it because right now, in terms of pure weaponry, pure output out of Dropship 5, they are not winning on these trades. So they are going to put a focus on winning that 3 cap and forcing JGX to respond and perhaps get caught out. They are banking on that. But we are seeing some ER large fire from Data in the night gear on those crossing light mechs. They know where they're going. He's getting some damage downfield, and if they see that Streak mech, which they might...
He needs...
Oh, he
the other
doesn't see it.
D5 teams need to help out, but he's going back to support, I think.
He is, and they've got those cheetahs already heading back, but they did not see the Streak mech cross, so there still is a little bit of a wild card there with that Streak mech, but he's cutting inside. He's going to give up his
and this is what
here.
D5 needs to do. They need to shoot Data from on the other side of the map, distract him, and they did that. He's returning fire.
So Zia is certainly still a wild card at this point. Not known, but he will be shortly, and he's been discovered.
Yeah,
and Data is going to get that burn in there as well. He is committing down into the pit. While they work for this Sigma cap, I think they are going to commit to this. This is how the rest of the battle is going to play out here. They are committing to trying to roll this Sigma cap.
And the Summoner up by Theta is getting shot at again from across the way, but it looks like JGX is all moving.
D5 is all moving forward. I think they want to make a presence over Theta here and try to maybe roll a sneak 4 cap, but it all comes down to them flipping Sigma, which they are about to. Navid is on the point. Charlemagne and Zia is fighting up in front just to make sure they can flip it. They've got it, but I think they might need to pull a 4 cap here. The Stormcrow is about to go down to those 3 mechs.
Going on Theta.
So they're going to try to get the 4 cap right at the end, and if Navid and Charlemagne can stay alive long enough to prevent a flip back of Sigma, this could work for D5. But JGX coming in strong to respond. They are putting their damage downfield on Charlemagne. Navid is backing up. I don't think they're going to just walk away from this. I think they're going to try to stop this cap with whatever strikes they can. But I have no doubt in my mind they're going to send these cheetahs past Sigma. They have Theta, so they're rolling the 4 cap, but Sigma is getting hit, and there's the shots in on Sigma to stop the cap. They need a little bit more to keep it stopped. They're holding it as long as they can. The longer that they can hold it, the better chance they have to roll this 4 cap into a lead.
Hard right now.
We'll have to take a quick look at Theta. Theta is going to be another key point. They have Snapstyle on the point. Navid kills the rabbit, so one of those cheetahs dying is big. Snapstyle bravely holding Theta as the cap points start to switch in favor of Dropship 5. Snapstyle actually scoring a kill, but he is not long for this world as he is down to 39%. Navid in the Wolfhound finally goes down. Charlemagne takes down Dario.
The cheetah goes down.
They finally killed Snapstyle, and they're attempting cap Theta back, but Brother Tibber in that Supernova bravely putting the damage downfield. He goes down. He was actually relatively fresh, or at least
Charlemagne needs to stop Data from capping, and he's doing so, but Sigma has been neutralized. That's big.
So this is pretty big because this might switch back to 2-2, but caps have switched back in favor of Dropship 5. That might have been what they needed to pull this one off. Everybody is stopping the cap on Theta. It has been neutralized, but they still have the lead. That could have been enough. They've abandoned
They
Sigma.
do have Odin at Epsilon. Let's see if he can flip it in time.
Epsilon is going to be a bit of a wild card. I think this is going to go in favor of D5 here. I don't think they have enough spread of mechs for JGX. I think that was an expertly played maneuver by D5 to put them in favor. And holy cow, there it is. Dropship 5 with a very smartly timed play to flip those caps back in their favor, and 750 to 729. Wow. That was extremely well executed by D5. A lot of cogs there.
Won that one for them by holding Sigma as long as they did.
They did. That was extremely well played. I can't believe they killed both of those cheetahs too. That in itself. It was close enough to the end of the match that those cheetahs dying didn't necessarily make a huge impact. You usually consider that it would, but I don't think those guys could have maybe flipped over to any of the other cap points by the end of that. But bottom line, Navid and Charlemagne, I would say a bit of an MVP here with Ziaz in tow. I mean, they died to protect that point and did it in spectacular fashion. You know, you look at 95 damage and you think he didn't contribute, but he slowed that team down.
He did.
Well, they were capping Sigma in the backfield. It allowed them to get the flip. It distracted them long enough. So that was a sacrifice that was not in vain by Ziaz. And just the cogs that went into the manufacture of that victory for D5. I know there are people out there that don't like cap strats, but this is the kind of thing that JGX needs to be prepared for and have a response to. And this was kind of the D5 setting up for the win condition and doing it very well and very
I think they had a pretty good response for the most part, but I still think Charlemagne and Navid won that one. Put the team on their back there with that Wolfhound play. If even one of them had died early on, that's game over at that point.
Yeah, everything was hinging on the success of Sigma. The sacrificial play into Theta worked fantastic. JGX did not have a counter to the power push over Theta. They weren't able to stop the cap, and being able to then hold those caps. Essentially, we're heading back into Tourmaline Desert, so we're going to try again with the teams on the opposite side. But essentially, being able to, once you flip the cap, it's a lot easier to hold a cap when you have it than it is to take one, especially under fire. But the timing of D5's push, you could tell they were setting up. They knew how important Sigma was. And let's go over and just take a look at the map screen here, just so I can visualize it for you. But we essentially had just this spread of mechs all through the backside of stage here, not really trading very well against just this onslaught of mechs right here from JGX. Up in the high grounds, ER large lasers, D5 failing the trades. The first key point here is D5 knew they were failing the trades, and they slowed their roll. They turned this into a cap battle because they knew that their deck choices were failing them on this map, especially on the Oceanic server. They were not able to land those PPCs, I think, like they hoped, and so smartly they stopped taking damage. They got their heads down. They occasionally made a pop shot with a PPC, put it downfield, but they were not going to win this fight toe-to-toe against JGX with the deck choices that they made. So D5 then committing to that cap strat. They had Epsilon, Gamma. Well, no, they didn't even have Epsilon.
They didn't have Epsilon. They had Gamma Kappa.
Yeah, the Gamma Kappa. So they were kind of hemorrhaging a little bit there early on. And you know that essentially they sent their lights over for Sigma, and you saw how badly that went, because JGX can respond to that, chase them off the point, and retake Sigma with significantly less effort than it took to get Sigma in the first place. So they back off, and they bring their streak boat to handle those light mechs, and they double back and take another stab at it because, you know, they can't go all the way around to Epsilon and keep doing this.
Commit to Sigma,
this is
or
too
Theta,
much.
and Theta is bad.
This is too much legwork just to get an occasional cap, and D5 knew that. They set up then for the second stab at Sigma with the streak mech this time. Now JGX then had their night gear right here, and he was putting shots downfield on those light mechs as they approached from the Kappa side. So they were coming through here. The streak mech then was a little bit behind those lights as they approached Sigma. Now, Data, I don't believe, had visual on that streak mech. I don't think he saw him coming around. I think they knew the streak mech was around. They've shot at him before. They had a bit of an exchange. But he didn't see that the streak mech was with those lights as they approached Sigma. There was the opportunity then where JGX basically went over to Epsilon and they basically put it to a full cap. Then they had to come all the way back around to respond to Sigma. That slowed down their approach, I believe, to Sigma enough for essentially the light mechs to get onto Sigma and start flipping that. Well, Ziaz then cut in and engaged in a suicidal fashion to allow the cap on Sigma, which is a big play right there, just to slow them down. Once they have Sigma, they can keep it. Those Wolfhounds then backing around the corner with those pretty long range.
Just long enough.
Just holding it long enough then to allow the push over Theta. The push over Theta was successful, which is also a big play. And then the, snap style sitting on the Theta with his Supernova, locking down the fight to the bitter end. And I think we saw Odin Steed with his Hunchback then. I think it was Odin.
He went to Epsilon.
Somebody was overwatching Theta. After snap style went down, somebody continued to put shots downfield onto Theta to prevent that flip back. It was long enough that they were able to pass JGX to the point where once it flipped back to a 2-2 and then even a 3-2, the damage was done. D5 accomplished their mission, and JGX just really needed to stop some of those last-minute caps from occurring. So well played, D5. They are on the other side now. Are they going to be able to pull this off? We've got this deadly Alpha Lance stepping up to the plate, going to put some ER large fire downfield, and here we go. Looks like D5 has split up. They've countered. They're bringing ER larges of their own, and they're putting damage down on Extreme Alex. Blaketown in the night gear also getting hit, so that entire exchange really hurting the night gears significantly. But now they're putting some of their focus on the Supernovas. They've put some of these more healthy mechs forward now, and we're seeing quite a bit of damage, a lot more damage exchanging between teams than we saw at the opener last time. And in terms of the trades, I think JGX still might be a little bit higher, but nice strike there on Dargor.
Right across both Supernovas.
Great strike there.
D5 just ate a strike across both Supernovas. That really hurt.
Well, there was a strike on the Supernova as well of JGX simultaneously with that.
Needs to back down.
So while this is occurring, what else is happening? D5 has taken Theta, and they have their Wolfhounds in on the backfield, harassing the back of JGX. And Rabbit is responding in his Arctic Cheetah, but they've got a decent group here. And so JGX now is turning to respond to this group. Zia's in the Nova pushing on that Arctic Cheetah. But if they go out like Navid just did, he's costing himself quite a bit of health. They can't step out like that.
They did get the kill, but Navid goes down.
And Navid goes down to a strike.
D5's Alpha Lance needs to put Crossfire in here. Get the pressure up on these guys. Take the pressure off the Brawlers.
Brother Tibber goes down as well. So a Supernova, Wolfhound, and Night Gear all down for Dropship 5. JGX has a pretty nasty murder box here, and those Cheetahs trying to just push that Wolfhound and that Nova back. I think the aggression over stage was a little bit mistimed. They didn't have their Alpha Lance ready to respond, and all JGX had to do was essentially turn
Raging Banana
and
goes
kill.
Down.
It was
that was a decent idea, not well executed by D5, and they're in a world of hurt right now. I thought they were going to play for maybe a cap strat with that, but they were very aggressive.
It's going to take a miracle at this point for D5 to start manufacturing some kills that they need here, but Odensteed and the Nova, right in the face of all those ER larges, he is getting shredded down, and he is not long for this world, especially with Dario in that Arctic Cheetah coming to respond. His machine guns shredding in and critting those internals, and he goes down in a ball of fire. Last 3 mechs remaining, Snap Style goes down as well, and we've got Charlemagne trying to work down to a cap point, but he's at this point just trying to survive. He might get his way around the corner, but Fratek in that Hunchback 2C finishing him off. Last mech remaining, Ziaz, and that was an incredibly fast battle, ending extremely quickly. Ziaz does land a kill on Data, but he's going
I don't think I want to
well.
play JGX in drop 2 of a comp match.
Another very impressive win out of JGX in a drop 2. So
That's the second day in a row we've seen JGX come out on drop 2 after a loss and just absolutely stomp the team that they were playing.
that was absolutely impressive coming out of those guys. The Alpha Lance once again pulling some pretty extreme numbers here. But this one, just at face value, I think was D5 coming out of the gate. I think they were at least going toe-to-toe on those trades. They got the Supernovas, Snap and Tibber, though, not pulling a lot, but Rage and Banana pulling 570, really putting quite a bit down. But Blake Town
took a ton of early damage there.
He did, and he just did not put out as much as he took. But Better Call Saul on JGX held to 62. But really, just I feel like D5 traded a lot better than Drop 1. But not quite good enough to really make JGX sweat.
I think the difference being is D5's initial trade was very, very good, and then they started doing the back off and poking around corners, which works really well for PPCs, but for ER large lasers, not necessarily the best way. If you saw how JGX trades, they move forward as a group. They're all exposed as a group. They're relying on each other essentially to be the shield, for themselves. Whereas, D5, as they progressed with that trading, as they took more damage, it seemed like they kind of reverted to their standard, pinpoint front-loaded damage trading. The popping around a corner, firing off a shot, popping back around the corner, and the mechs they were running aren't really suitable for that.
So basically, Alpha Lance here stepped up. Bravo came over and joined them. But the, D5 had okay trades, sustainable trades, maybe not, especially once they started playing the, they lost the power position. JGX was able to comfortably keep their mechs all exposed, and they were playing whack-a-mole on any D5 mech that popped out. So good initial damage from D5, but as soon as they started playing Pop-Tart or whack-a-mole, they start poking their heads up. JGX started punishing them. Also, there was some pretty solid strikes coming in from both teams, really. So the damage output was occurring. Tourmaline getting banned by D5. They want to see something else. Where are we going to be? Where are we going to be going? Maybe Canyon? We're going to be heading into Canyon? What does D5 want to play? It's on D5 to make the pick, and we are heading to Canyon.
And it was Canyon. I guess I won't be surprised.
So, but we've seen ER large lasers coming out of JGX here on Canyon as well, so wouldn't be surprised to see that in use again. We'll have to see how it goes. But the they had the Novas and the Lights step up the stage. I kind of like what they were doing. But I think it was misplayed. So they've got the JGX crew basically spread out over here, trading into the D5 crew hiding behind E4. D5 not really doing well in the trades. I think D5 putting their mechs up on stage was good, but I think they were too aggressive. The initial shots, the Wolfhound comes around, takes a shot into the back side of a mech for JGX. I was like, there you go. I love that. That's good. You're putting in that damage. You're harassing them. You're taking them out of the power position. You're making them look the other direction. You're splitting them up. They have to worry about you now. and that was some good stuff. But what then I saw is they started doing like an out and then an in and an out and an in and an out and an in, just trying to get stuff done, and they were exposing too much where essentially JGX, all they had to do then was step back, stop trading with the main body of D5, and just start putting their shots in on those mechs as they peeked out. And so you've got an 8v4 over there, and every single time one of those D5 mechs overcommitted and started getting shot up, my heart sank that was falling apart. And I think that's exactly what happened, is you've got 4 or 5 ER large mechs pounding your Wolfhound every time it pokes out, pounding your Nova every time it pokes out. They could have made a presence without overcommitting. They could have made their back shots and then backed off, allowing their main body to maybe begin taking a power position, or maybe even their Alpha Lance could have taken that opportunity to really do an effective push into JGX, just trying to outshoot JGX's firing line as those guys on the backfield harass from their secure position. At the very least, it would have caused some of the JGX mechs to respond to their presence, and then when you're comfortable that the main body of D5 was at a point where they can start non-stop shooting into JGX, which at this point over here, they can't do. All JGX had to do is take a step back, and they can no longer put that damage in. But once they get up to the point where D5, well, probably shredded at that point, could have consistently put fire in, that's when you decide, okay, well, we're going to put our lights in on the backfield to stir it up. But the aggression, too much aggression from D5's lights and mediums, not really buying them anything with that distraction, because obviously JGX just had to change their focus to those mechs, dispatch them, and then could comfortably change their focus then back towards D5 and finish them off. So just a bit of a misplay there, in my opinion, by D5, but I liked what they were going for. But of course, we are not seeing Tourmaline Desert again for drop 3. D5 banning Tourmaline and opting to go into a bit more intimate map, Canyon Network, where we have seen JGX using their ER larges, but maybe the shorter range is going to allow D5 to manufacture something like they did in drop 1. But so far, in terms of straight damage, nobody has an answer for JGX's power position.
Yeah, those ER larges are brutal right now.
So we'll have to see. JGX pulling out their typical deck: Night Gears, Supernovas, Hunchback 2CAs, and Arctic Cheetahs. Dropship
and they're going to run the same strat going to Junkyard that they did yesterday against 228.
So Dropship 5, no doubt, saw that match. Are they going to fall for it? We got the initial
like Dropship
Epsilon
5
cap,
might be going for an immediate three-point control, but they're going to have an Arctic Cheetah here getting up on Theta. Can he grab the corner of the control point? And he does, without taking fire from Junkyard. Let's see. Oh, no, Supernova just got up top and
so there are mechs crossing right now. The Supernovas are exposed to that Junkyard crew, and they are getting burned. Some extreme range fighting going on, however, but they are definitely taking that damage. It's not really adding up to much, though. I think Tibber and Snapstyle realized that that was the real extent of the range. And so, well, it was damage that was stacking up against them. I don't think they cared. They were going for their position. But we do still have those summoners rolling with PPCs now. But they've got a Hunchback and an Arctic Cheetah coming around the right.
Get the fire on.
Theta has been capped in favor of Dropship 5.
Oh, he did get it. Nice.
Those summoners are being pressured by a couple light mechs and I guess the 2 Hunchbacks and a light mech.
2 Hunchbacks, yeah. And those, I think, are ER large laser Hunchbacks as well.
So we'll have to see if those summoners are able to continue trading against those ER larges. But Raging Banana in a sticky position because he's getting hit from 2 angles. Every time he steps back, he's getting burned. Every time he steps forward, he's getting burned. He's got to be careful because this is a very sticky
summoners
situation.
need to reposition. And
all right, we got the Hunchbacks pushing up the right side. Raging saw it, I believe. No, he didn't. He's getting run up on. Ragin now sees it, takes the shot. He's bailing out, but he's exposing his back, and he gets a component ripped off down to 76%. Ill is also in a pretty sticky situation. He's getting pressured hard, and now they've got those light mechs moving down as well, putting some extra damage. These summoners are in a pretty nasty position right now, taking a lot of damage. JGX doing a really good job punishing them. A nice strike coming across that supernova. But JGX spreading out and really controlling the map very well here. D5 is going to have to come up with an answer. Being much more aggressive,
too. If D5 tries to go map strat, they're going to get whittled down too quickly at this rate.
Those hunchbacks now taking an entire region away from D5. That ramp now, they are being forced down the ramp. A great strike on those hunchbacks. That will add up. But the radio tower guys are not really able to keep those hunchbacks' heads down here, and Tibber now being forced down, essentially gifting the entire eastern half of the map to JGX. Those lights now heading down to Gamma, potentially, to flip it back. But Sigma is going to fall to the light mechs for Dropship 5. So they've rotated back. D5 definitely losing on the trades yet again, but they are attempting to manufacture a 3-cap, but
D5
Theta
needs
did
to
get
slow
neutralized.
this game down if they do that, though.
Theta being neutralized is pretty big because they can't maintain this 3-cap. Ragin taking even more burns here. And another strike coming in. It looks like it's going to hit him. Ragin Banana just getting wailed on. He's lost a PPC. One of his torsos is gone. And they just do not have an answer for those ER larges yet again. If they had Theta, they could roll that for a while, but because Theta got neutralized, they're rolling on a 2-2 cap.
Hunchbacks here. Odin moving up, but he's getting pushed by Data, and there's supernovas on the other side of him at Theta. I don't think Odin realizes how dangerous
Odin gets a kill on the Night Gear. So he's backing up, but Pasha is right behind him.
Pasha, there's supernovas. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh, and he gets backcored by those supernovas. I don't think he knew that they were there.
I don't think he knew they were there at all.
In the attempt for the retreat, he gets taken out. It was a trade. Hunchback for a Night Gear, though. Not a bad trade. But the damage is starting to stack up on D5.
Is not going to let this go to a cap fight. They are being very aggressive right now.
And that that airstrike hitting several mechs for D5. D5 in dire straits here, but now as mechs peek over against them, they might be able to start manufacturing some more damage. But Charlemagne
is trapped in that canyon.
Is getting hit hard.
Charlemagne needs to get out of there.
The supernova gets taken out by Brother Tibber. Every time a mech peeks, they might be able to start putting some of these shots downfield, especially with those PPCs at that close of a range. But they are very hurt, and anybody coming in on an angle.
Cheetah coming in from the backfield.
Another strike coming in. Looks like that one might fall short. Oh, it's an arty strike, though. It's going to get some hits on Brother Tibber. Charlemagne goes down. They have mechs in the backfield. Let's see here.
And here comes the Arctic Cheetahs. Brother Tibber goes down as well. This is going to be all over. There's just not enough mechs, not enough armor left on the field.
Yeah, the aggression is starting to sweep over D5. Zia is trying to get some distance and then work against Pasha and Data. But he doesn't have enough health left. Ill still has his PPCs, but against a completely fresh Arctic Cheetah, he's not going to be long for this world as those machine guns start shredding into his components. Zia is caught down low with Rabbit, and he's going to die. And this one is going to go in favor of JGX, taking the series 2-1 with a very, very solid Canyon Network strategy, just robbing Dropship 5 of territory and angles and then forcing them down into the canyons. Just really good trades coming in from JGX, and Dropship 5 did not have a response.
Yeah, it looked like D5 initially set up kind of map control, trying to go for the 3-cap, and JGX recognizing that went aggressive, knowing that D5 wasn't going to necessarily be able to set up a good power position to prevent that aggression.
JGX definitely doing a good job just keeping their fire on targets, and it looks like Navid has lost all of his machine guns down to pretty much just one laser left, and he is going to be going down. So well played, JGX, coming in strong and just making a statement against Dropship 5, and D5 has been eliminated from the tournament. They are the 4th team now out of 12 to be eliminated in this losers bracket.
I'd say that was a statement, those back-to-back games there.
Absolutely. I mean, D5 pulling out a nice manufactured cap strat. JGX basically saying, not again. We are not going to let you do that. Playing a little bit more aggressively to take territory away from D5 and just come out extremely strong against D5. D5 just simply did not have an answer to that ER large setup, essentially. And part of that might have to do with the fact that this is on the Oceanic server. JGX simply might be used to it, and D5 coming in with those PPCs not able to hit anything. And
they did bring out more ER larges, but didn't go with the full commit.
Correct. And the Supernova Snap Style, 476 damage, was able to do some work for his team, but everybody else essentially just held down and not able to effectively utilize their mechs to put damage downfield. And JGX is going to be moving up in the losers bracket.
I mean, you look at all three of those matches, JGX severely out-damaging D5. They just did not have an answer in trades. And in that last game, you know, JGX, like you said, was not going to let a cap strat happen.
So we're going to be seeing then JGX versus RJFS in Game 15. I'm sure Russian Jade Falcon and Black Spikes have been watching these matches, and they have a little bit of time now before the next matches get played that they can maybe come up with some sort of counter. But bottom line, JGX ER large spam is a force to be reckoned with, and they are impressive right now. We'll have to see kind of, you know, what's going to happen here in Game 15. But then we've got, of course, 228 Wild Ones versus SJR, Cyrus versus EMP, and Eon Synergy versus 228 Blackwatch coming up in this next week. So there's a lot more Mech Warrior left to play. It looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 matches left, potentially 11, depending on if the losers bracket team ends up winning in Game 22. But hopefully we'll be able to resolve a majority, if not all of these matches by the end of the weekend. I'm not making any promises, but depending on how it goes, it really, I think, depends on the regions that make it deep into the bracket. There is a possibility things might have to go one more week, but it is what it is. But either way, these matchups are getting closer and closer together as the some teams are eliminated from the bracket. But what do we got here? We got a European team, an NA team, an NA team, an NA team, a European team, an Oceanic team, an Oceanic team, and an NA team. So pretty solid regional spread right now around the globe of teams that are still in this and in the hunt to head to Vancouver. Of course, MechCon 2017 in Vancouver in December. Top 3 teams will be advancing to duke it out on stage for your pleasure. If you have the means to go to MechCon, I highly recommend you head out to Vancouver and get there. It is an excellent party. We're going to be there. There's going to be a lot of really great people there. A lot of really great stuff to see. It's going to be bigger than last year. It was an absolute blast. Last year was such a great party, and it was a great memory as well. So I enjoyed it, and I think you guys should go too. If you can't make it, it will be up on stream on this channel, Piranha Games, so make sure you guys tune in and see all the great announcements and just see if you can spot people you know in the crowd. Just a reminder, we were going to be doing a giveaway today. I've got 147 people entered into the roulette so far, so pretty solid crowd out there. All you have to do is talk in chat, talk about what went down, add your comments into the chat, and you will be automatically entered into the giveaway. We're giving away 5,000 MC and a standard mech pack for this match, and we'll be giving it away here shortly. But let's take a look at Canyon Network on the map and just kind of see how that all went down. So initially here, we've got the same setup that we've seen from JJX before. That's not it. Junkyard, setting up those 3 ER large mechs on Junkyard right off the bat. they're able to get a little bit of scratch across the way at the Supernovas, basically crossing the bridge here. I want to say I'm not sure if those guys were Charlie Lance and crossed, or if they went Alpha Lance.
They were Charlie Lance and
so
crossed
they set their Supernovas and Charlie Lance and crossed them all basically over here, or they got them to Radio Tower, I think. So they crossed over and worked into Radio Tower. But they took a little bit of burn. It wasn't a lot, but they were some of the initial damage stacked up. Now they sent the 2 Hunchbacks and a Cheetah over to Epsilon Corner here. Well, the Summoners, one of them was right here, another one was back here, began trading across into JGX. Now those Hunchbacks came up and put a lot of new angles, new pressure with those ER large lasers really into Raging Banana here, and he was getting crossfired from 2 locations at once. So if he stepped back, he was getting shot. If he stepped forward, he was getting shot, and he was forced to move. I think his response to essentially diving out of harm's way came a little bit late. He overstayed his welcome. It was a losing situation. Took him too long to get out.
And then he had the Cheetahs coming up the canyon as well when he did that.
Yeah, they came rushing after him here, putting pressure, getting a little bit of that ER medium laser shots in on him as he left. Those Summoners just took a little bit too long to realize that they were in a sticky situation and get out. But losing this region here to those Hunchbacks was pretty big. I mean, I don't think they necessarily could have stayed. They could have maybe dropped down and started trading into those Hunchbacks. I think those Cheetahs would have just jumped over the wall and helped, and it would have been a lose-lose situation for those Summoners. Bottom line, as soon as you have those Hunchbacks here, you're forcing D5 to retreat down the canyon and basically set up in one of the worst places to defend here on Canyon Network. Because then it allows JGX to come off of Junkyard, everybody essentially traveling up, setting up their firing line, the Hunchbacks obviously keeping them down, but they can easily traverse across as needed, and you've got just a nasty setup here of JGX swarming and putting D5 into a kill box. Now D5 was able to get some kills as some of those JGX mechs peaked. They were able to manufacture some expert shots into those mechs, but by then they had taken so much damage that
it was just a
there was
losing
not enough
proposition anyway.
It was a
Trying
slow
to trade
death.
from there is just, it's not going to work. You're going to have too many people on all sides of you shooting you back.
Yeah. And
there's also a Cheetah that came right up behind. I mean, they were surrounded on all sides trying to defend in that canyon.
it would have taken a pretty big, I guess, mess up by JGX at that point to lose that one. Because they had D5 right where they wanted, and they executed extremely proper execution. And then, of course, D5 attempted to get somebody up this wall here and kill some of those approaching mechs, and actually did. Odinsteed put a night gear down, I believe, as they came around against them. But unfortunately for him, as he backed around the corner, there were the supernovas then coming up this ramp here, and all he had to do is put a little focus right into his backside, and Odin was taken down, and that robbed pretty much this area over here was taken away, and then all that was left is the people sitting down underneath Theta, and they got completely swarmed. So that was a slow death, but it was almost an assured death of D5 after they got forced down, lost map control. But somebody's going to have to come up with an answer for that ER large against JGX, but at least the teams that are still in the bracket are going to have an opportunity to have some discussions here as we move towards the next matches. There may be some matches that get scheduled during the week, but a majority of them, in no doubt in my mind, a majority of them will play out on the weekend.
Yeah, and those teams, I think, playing against JGX, they're going to have to do some studying this week to figure out how to counter that. With JGX now, kind of cleaning up their, I'll say, quote-unquote, weakness, their failures against 228 on Canyon Network with the cap strat, with the timing, being aggressive, and countering that to go along with their setup. I mean, their initial setup might be one of the best I've seen on Canyon Network in a while. They've got basically half the map on lockdown, and the other half of the map is a pretty lousy half the map to fight on. So it's going to be interesting to see if some other teams can figure out how to play against JGX right now, but they're playing really well.
Absolutely.